Hello and welcome. My name is Danielle, and as always, I'm so glad to see you here. We're going to be working on our shoulders today. So, if you are somebody that's struggling with some limited mobility, not quite open enough in your shoulders that you'd want, you're not quite able to get into those deeper poses that you've been working on, this yin class is for you. We're going to be slowly, gently getting into all the different areas of our shoulder girdle over time, holding each pose for a few minutes to really get deep into those tissues and melt away that stress to get in deeper over time. So we're going to be closing our practice today in fish pose. So you might want some blocks, always an option, but always nice to have them. So grab them if you like them, and we will get started today in a seated position. All right, so as always with my yin classes, I'd like to have a bell that's going to ring every time it's time to change. It's going to be 3 minutes each today. So I'm going to go ahead and get that bell started, and we will get started in our seated position. All right, so we are here. We have made it. Maybe you want to have an easy seat. Maybe we want to have half lotus, full lotus. Maybe you want to take a block and put it underneath your sitting bones. Just elevate the hips a little bit. Gets a little different angle if you're trying to go for that half lotus. Maybe you're kneeling, just whatever option you want. So let's go ahead and start, commit, and settle in. So whatever we're doing with our seat, we're grounding down in the sitting bones and lifting up, rolling the shoulders down the back. Maybe the hands are on our knees. Maybe the gaze is in front of us, or maybe we close our eyes. And just take a few breaths here at the beginning to start to melt away all the stress of our day. We're here, we've made it. The hardest part is done. And now all that is left to do is to breathe. And we only move, we only go into those stretches as long as we are listening and committed to that calm breath. And part of the goal of yin is to gradually open up our bodies over time. And we open them up through the breath. So grounding in, can we get one good long inhale? One good long exhale. Right, and then we will start to move. So at the beginning here, we're just going to do some neck rolls. So starting to do some little circles with the neck, maybe dropping your head over to one side, holding it for a breath, and then dropping over to the other side and holding for a breath. Or maybe you want to do full circles, getting the full range of motion on our neck. No, the option is yours here at the beginning to just find what movement feels good. And maybe spending a moment or two in one area or another that feels like it needs a little bit more attention. And then reversing any circles if you've taken them. And just starting to notice the difference from one direction to the other. For whatever reason, it always feels a little bit stiffer, a little bit more awkward going in the other direction for me. A couple of more breaths here. Maybe making those circles bigger, making them deeper. All right, now it's time to move. We're going to go ahead and come into tabletop next. And can you just do some wrist warm-up exercises? And so I know, it's like, no, this is a shoulder class, right? But really, we got that fascia line all along our arms and our shoulders, our back. So it's all connected. So here, we're going to set up in our tabletop and really press into the earth, press our knuckles, our finger pads in, shine those elbows forward. And then holding our hands as they are gluing in, just start to rock forward and back. Just really feeling that full palm pressing into the earth. And so we are warming up our hands, but I want you to bring some awareness into the shoulders, the neck. Really feel that activation and that stretch all along the neck and the shoulders. So can we really push the earth way round through the shoulders as we rock back and forth? And a couple options here. Again, as long as we're getting that sensation all along our arms, that's what we're looking for. Maybe we stick our fingers forward, or maybe we take a moment to flip them the other way. Maybe walking them closer in kind of changes the angle on the wrist. We're trying to press our fingers, press our knuckles, our full palms on the earth, not just the wrists. We tend to put most pressure here, but we want that full palm pressing in and then rocking back and forth. And again, we are stretching our wrists here, but I'm pressing so hard into the earth, pressing my elbows forward that I'm feeling the stretch all along my neck and my shoulders. So can you make some micro adjustments to really get that activation all along? Maybe extend the crown of the head. A couple more breaths here, just feeling it out. I'm starting to feel it along my triceps too. All right, now we're going to take our hands, bring our fists together. So if we're pressing, giving ourselves a fist bump, and taking those fists onto the earth, bending our elbows generously to start really feel it grounded. Press our palms, our wrists into the earth, and then start to straighten the elbows. And again, going only a little bit or a lot, as much as we need to. But again, extending that crown of the head tall. Can we get a stretch all along our arms and our shoulders? Maybe lifting the heart a bit and softening in and straightening, extending that head, extending the neck and softening in. One more time and softening in. And then coming up, let's do a couple of wrist circles, just letting it out. Maybe noticing where are we feeling the most heat, the most sensation, the most friction. Maybe do some finger flicks to get those hands awake. It's also a great thing to do before most of your vinyasa classes. It wakes up the wrists, keep them healthy. I feel like most teachers, we don't do a lot of wrist exercises before, All right, next up, we're going to come onto our bellies and do a broken wing pose. So shifting our weight forward, coming to laying on our stomachs. We're going to take our left arm out in front of us, coming directly out of the shoulder. You can keep it straight, or if you want to change the stretch, if you do it a lot, you can bend the elbow too, like a cactus at a 90-degree angle, but that's really intense. So only go as far as you want to in that one. Don't push it. Then using that right arm, start to push off of it, rolling onto our side. So you can have your head on the floor. If it feels a little far away, this is also a great place for a block to put it underneath your head. And we can take, your legs can stay stacked. Maybe you take that left leg, right leg, bend it, place it behind the leg or the front, whichever one feels more grounding to you. Maybe that right hand stays pressing in, or maybe you want to take it to your leg. Maybe you want to take it behind. But depending on, the farther back you go with that arm, the deeper the stretch comes. So only go as far as it feels safe. And then whenever you have that depth, that sensation, and we soften in. Right, we want to go, we're holding this pose for a couple of minutes, right? So we don't want to go right to our edge and clench and hold. That's not going to help release that stress over time. Instead, we want to go to our edge and then back off just 10%. Making sure that we can still hold a calm, steady breath. So as we're holding here, as we're sitting, trying to soften in, if you find yourself catching your breath in your chest and you're holding it, it's not free and flowing, that is your sign that you've gone a little too far and we just need to back off just a little bit. And then as your body opens up, as you hold it deeper, our edge starts to change. And breath by breath, we can make those micro movements to maybe go a little bit deeper. Maybe you change it and you realize, nope, that doesn't feel good, and you don't need to back out, and that's okay too. Whatever shape we're taking, can we soften in just a little bit more? Can we send that breath to the areas that we're holding? And then soften the face, soften the jaw. Can we just sit in this pose in relative relaxation? All right, then that bell is ringing. It's time to release. So we're gently going to roll back onto our stomach, being very kind, being very aware of that left arm not going too deep, and setting up for the other side. So that right arm extends straight out, or maybe bending the knee, bending the elbow, maybe moving that block if you're using it. The palm of the hand is pressing down though. And as we're ready, start to roll over onto our right side. So again, same shape, just a different side. We have the same options. Maybe one option feels better on one side and not the other, and that's okay. But a couple of breaths to center yourself to really feel it out. And then maybe you want to change the angle just a little bit. Can we get comfortable? We're not holding too long. This was an in-person class with me. If we were in a studio, we'd be holding each pose for 5-6 minutes. So relatively, this is a quick class, but we can still get the same benefits. We just have less time to think about it and more time that we have to spend in that commitment. So we're here, we're breathing into that right arm, and we're relaxing our whole body, trying not to hold, not to fight it. Breath by breath, can we soften that right arm just a little bit more? Staying above any pain, right? We should be looking for heat, for a little tension, for a little restriction. But if it's searing, if it's sharp, if it's so hard, if it hurts so much that we are clenching, that's too far. Back out and come to that point where we can just relax. And then maybe take a moment to notice, where do we feel it in our arm? Is it closer to the shoulder, closer to the elbow? Maybe you're feeling it in your neck or in your back, behind the shoulder. Just take a moment to really identify where we're feeling it. And then notice if breath by breath, that sensation changes. It's got 30 seconds left here. So where can we soften? How can we make the most of this pose while we're in it? And maybe changing just for a few breaths more, going a little bit deeper. It gives you the space to change the sensation and just notice a little bit more. All right, gently start to come back out of it, rolling onto our stomachs, moving, and you prop out of the way if you need to. We're going to do a thread the needle next. So you can do traditional if you want to get up onto your knees and thread it under, but I'm going to stay laying. I'm going to take my right arm in front, taking my left hand, kind of propping it under, and taking my left hand and start to walk it under. Moving the mic out of the way so you can still hear me. So we're kind of doing the opposite. Before we were rolling onto our backs, we're doing the same thing except rolling onto our stomachs. So that left arm is coming straight out of our shoulder, palm faces down. Right arm is extending in front of you. And then we're just going to start to walk ourselves under. And this might be another place for a block if you want to put it at the medium height or the low height. Or you can also just take your hand and put it under your forehead if that feels good. You can kind of play with what shape feels good. On different days, I like doing different things. But whatever option we're taking, we're kind of making a plus sign with our arms here. We're rolling the weight to the right side, really trying to ground into that right shoulder to get some stretching, some sensation on the outside of the left shoulder. So play with it for a few breaths, seeing what we can find. And when you have it, when you feel just the right amount of sensation, that's where we pause and where we hold. And then breath by breath, seeing if we can go deeper. Right, yin is this beautiful dance with our bodies and the poses. It's a give and take where we meet our pose where it's at. And then it invites us to go deeper. And then we go too deep and it pushes back, pushes us away. So the key here is to find the right pace. So this dance becomes this beautiful graceful thing instead of a choppy race. And as we're holding this pose, can we see where that sensation changes? As I'm holding it, I felt it first in the outside of my elbow, and I feel it moving down just a little bit, going deeper into the tissues as we're holding. So maybe can you notice where are those sensations happening for you? Right, where's the work being done in this pose? And then can we soften? Can we make some micro adjustments? We just got 20 seconds left. Can we roll a little bit more weight to the right side? Maybe change the angle of that pressure and melt in just a little bit more. All right, and then before you know it, it's time to release. So we're gently going to walk that right arm up. Maybe roll to the side a bit to get that left arm slided out. Maybe take a moment, shake your shoulders, loosen up the joints, and as we're ready, making our way to the right arm. So we're going to take our left arm, extend it up, kind of got a little bit of a seal pose here as we just walk that right arm under, trying to get it at that 90 degrees straight out of our arm. Then walking that left arm in front of us and starting to soften it. So again, we're looking for that plus sign with our arms. And if you kind of notice, I don't know if you can tell, I'm definitely rolling a bit more onto my right side on this side, which just kind of just shows we're not very symmetrical on side to side, and that's okay. So once we have it, maybe adjust your forehead, the position, and then commit to soften it. So spending a few breaths here, just being aware of the pose, aware of the sensations that are happening. Where are we grounded down? And where are we active right now? Where can we soften? And maybe can we find a little bit more space and be a little bit more soft? And as we soften in, that dance begins, and the pose invites us to go just a little bit deeper. So maybe we make those micro adjustments, changing the sensation, and soften in again. And then maybe bring that awareness to our breath this time. What is the quality of our breath? Is it free? Is it flowing? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Where are we at right now? And how can we open up just a little bit more? So 30 seconds or so left. So in this end here, can we adjust, go a little bit deeper, change that sensation? Maybe notice how is the sensation different? And breathing all the while. All right, gently starting to walk ourselves back up. Taking a moment, maybe noticing how your shoulders feel. And then gently starting to press yourself up, and we will come to a seated position for reversed swan, seated swan, whatever you want to call it. So trying to bring a little bit of hip leg work in, but the emphasis is still on our shoulders today. So let's start here, kind of in that reverse tabletop. Your fingers can be pointing towards you, maybe pointing out, maybe pointing behind you. We're really going to lift the chest, lift the heart, keep the arms straight. So that's going to be the goal. And while we're doing that, we're going to take that right leg first, bend in the knee, bringing the foot just above that left kneecap. And we can walk our left foot in as much as we want, just trying to get a little bit of sensation. So we want to feel something in our legs, but the emphasis is going to be in our shoulders. So So you can play with it. Do you want your arms to be straight, pushing the chest this way? Or maybe do we want to bend our elbows and lift the chest this way? So just thinking about, cow's breath in the spine. Can we arch the chest, arch the shoulders back, extend the crown of the head tall? And then again, kind of doing a little bit of wrist activation, hand activation, trying to stretch our whole fascia line from our neck all the way down to our fingers. And maybe we play with the angles of the hands. I think I want them pointed behind me today. That feels good. But I'm going to bend my elbows gently, but bringing my elbows in. So if you're working with straight arms, we're lifting the chest. If we're bending the knees, we're still bending the elbows, we're still lifting the chest, but maybe sinking some weight back, maybe shaking side to side. Just finding what feels good, and maybe walking that foot in just a little bit more. Maybe shaking our hips side to side. This is your chance to play here and find whatever sensations are going to help you soften and open. Let's see, we got about 45 seconds left in this pose. So maybe we play with something different for the remainder of it. Maybe you want to tuck the chin, maybe change the sensation of the stretch on the back of the neck, but really push the earth away. Can you draw the shoulder blades in? Feel how that sensation changes. And maybe we hold in stillness, or maybe we sway just a little bit more. Listening to our breath the whole time. All right, so gently start to walk your hands up. Keep your legs as they are. We are going to bring the feet on top of each other, stacking our shins for our fire log pose. So keeping our legs here, just get a little bit of hip opening here. Arms come out to the side, and that right arm is going to go over the left, and then maybe wrapping it around, coming into our eagle arms. So maybe we're just grabbing our shoulders with the right arm on top. Maybe we're able to grab our forearms. Maybe one day we're coming into our full prayer. Maybe we're grabbing our fists, whatever we got to do just to get that shoulder opening. But whatever we're doing with our arms, we're pulling the arms into the chest, lifting the chest up. So we got the equal and opposite action in the upper body. And our feet are flexed, our shins are stacked. Maybe we stay here, really grounding down through the sitting bones, lifting up, pulling those elbows in. Or if you want to change the sensation, you can start to hinge forward, leading with the heart to start to bring that upper body down. And so this can be a lot of sensation for people. So just go as far as you need to. And if you are feeling very open and you want to kind of use a block or two, some days the blocks work really well for me, some days they don't. You can come all the way down to rest your elbows on the block. And if you're doing that, you're still pressing up, really extending through the spine. And maybe though that gives you a little bit more space to soften in and really feel that stretch now in the hips as well as the shoulders. Whatever shape we're taking, pausing here at the end, can we commit to melt into it and breathe into that tension? Maybe surrendering the chin too changes the stretch. Got 1 minute left here. So maybe we stay here. Maybe you play with the position of the hands. You can bring them in towards your forehead or maybe pull them away. So maybe on your exhales, draw the hands in. On the inhales, draw the hands out. And that might not feel good. So always an option, never an obligation. And if you're staying seated in this first position, we're grounding down through our hips, lifting up, maybe imagining cow's breath in the spine as we're growing taller and pulling those elbows in deeper. And just 20 seconds left here to soften in and breathe. All right, on your inhale, start to gently unwrap, unwind. Take that right arm on top, left hand behind, and we're going to start to go into our cow face pose. So if you have really tight shoulders, you can always take a strap if you need it. So if you're going to take that strap, that right hand comes on top, left hand behind. We're going to grab onto it. So kind of grabbing on like this with both hands. And then you gently walk your hands closer over time. Maybe you are so flexible you don't need it and you can grasp onto either your shirt. You can grasp onto your shirt, or you can find those fingers. So whatever bind you're taking, you're committing to it, you're holding it. And maybe our shins stay stacked like the spiral log pose, or maybe we start to slide our legs together, one day bringing our knees stacked on top of each other. And that might be too much. And so if that's okay, you're welcome to back out. So whatever shape we're taking with our hands, with our legs, settling in for a few rounds of some good deep breath. But we're still grounding down through the sitting pose, lifting up through the heart. Our hands, whatever they're holding on to, they're gently pulling apart. So we're getting some activation in the shoulders. And we're still extending that spine. Maybe as you start to open up to this pose, we're halfway through. Maybe you want to start to hinge forward again, changing the sensation on the hips. And if you have your knees stacked, it's a lot harder to go forward. So you might not go as deep as you did on the other pose with the legs stacked wider. But you go as far as you need to find that stretch and soften in. Maybe play with tucking the chin. But if we are tucking the chin, we're still lifting the head, the back of the neck, really extending through the crown of the head. Maybe that gives you the space to bend a little more. And maybe that made you bend too deep. You need to back out. And then maybe we bring some awareness to our hips and our legs. What are they feeling right now as we've been holding them? Are we feeling some heat, some space, some tension, some release? Just finding what we can notice in this moment. Ten more seconds for whatever you want to experience. Then it's time to release. So gently start to unwrap those arms, maybe wiggle them out, do what you need to do. And then we'll do that whole sequence on the other side. So setting up for our reverse swan with our left leg. So the right leg is bent, that left leg comes, stacking it just above the right knee. And again, we can do whatever option feels right with our arms. And maybe whatever you did the last side, you do the different side. So maybe if your fingers are pointing out, you change them, you point them in. But if you're bending your elbows, we're really focusing on bringing those elbows in to expand across the chest. Maybe we walk those feet in a bit. Maybe we bend our elbows a little bit more. Kind of, you could, if you wanted to, kind of play with cat's breath in the spine and then lifting up to cow's breath. If you kind of want to move with your breath for a little bit, that's always another fun option. You know what your body needs right now. We are trying to open up our shoulders and gently open up our wrists. So of all those options I gave you before, find whichever one is calling to you. And then maybe we stay in stillness, or maybe you sway side to side. Maybe you wiggle that knee a bit, change the angle on the hip. And just find whatever we need to soften in. And maybe as we're softening in, do we notice how is it different on this side? And I definitely feel different in my left hip than I do in my right. So it's not something to judge, to hold on to criticize yourself. It's just something to know about yourself. And maybe that gives you the chance to reflect on your habits from your day-to-day. That might be making those imbalances, those changes in your body. And all the while, as we're doing this observing, we're breathing. Got about 40 seconds left here. So whatever you need in this pose, in this moment, on this other side, making sure you give yourself the space to get it. And then maybe coming for just a little bit of stillness towards the end. All right, gently starting to walk yourself up. Start to bring that right foot, wiggle it on to the side to set up for our fire log in the legs. So our feet are flexed, shins are stacked. Arms out to the side, identifying that left arm and bringing that left arm over the right. And maybe grabbing onto our shoulders and just pulling the elbows in that way. Maybe starting to go deeper, grabbing onto your forearms, or maybe making a fist, grabbing onto your thumbs, or making it all the way into prayer pose. All beautiful options. But whatever option we're taking, those elbows are pressing in, chest is lifting up. We've got cow's breath in the spine as we're extending tall. And we spend some time here just breathing. Maybe at the beginning, we bring some awareness to our sitting bones, really feel strong and rooted. And maybe that awareness of that roots gives you the space to lift up more. And then maybe we stay here, being tall, or maybe we start to hinge, changing the sensation on our hips. And maybe we hinge so far that we can rest our elbows on a block, playing with the position of the block. Maybe you need 2 blocks, just depending on the day. Feeling what you need to feel. And if you make that contact with your elbows on the block, you're pressing into the block to lift the chest even more. So we're really focusing on that back bend, that extension. We're drawing the elbows down the back, melting them away from the ears. And all the while breathing deeply. Maybe noticing the sensation that's coming up in our hips now as we're changing the angle. What can you notice about yourself? We've got 1 minute left, so we are 2/3 of the way through. Maybe we need stillness right now, or maybe we need that little bit of movement. So on your inhales, pulling the hands a little bit away, and on the exhale, pulling the hands a little in. Maybe they make contact with the forehead. And just moving ever so subtly with your breath. And just noticing what comes up as we move. Maybe as we move, that gives you a little bit more space to hinge a little deeper. And maybe you realize you've gone too far, you back out. And breathing deeply all the while. All right, and gently start to come back up. Unwrap those arms, extending them out, and then taking that strap, if you need it, in the left hand. On your inhale, that left arm reaches up, right hand comes behind you, going into whatever bind is available. So maybe your hands are farther apart. Maybe you can walk them up to bring them in closer. Or maybe you're grabbing onto your shirt, just pulling them away. Or maybe you can go all the way to clasp with the hands. So when you have that bind with your hands, can we soften into it? And maybe we keep our shins stacked in our fire log pose, or maybe we start to walk our feet out, start to bring our knees on top of each other. And then as we do that, you can kind of play with the angle of the feet too. So one day your feet will be parallel. with the side of the mat, fully stacked, feet flexed. But that might not be today, so you can bring your feet a little closer in towards your hips. That gives you a little bit more space sometimes. And then whatever shape we're taking now here at the end, once we've settled, we commit, and then we breathe. Can we grow tall through the spine? Noticing what we're feeling. And then maybe we need to stay in stillness, or maybe we want to hinge forward again. But the more we bend forward, the more we arch back. We're really extending through the full spine. And if you have that arch in the back, your head will be pressing into that arm. So you should really feel some resistance. And if you are pressing into the arm is simultaneously pressing forward into the head. That equal and opposite action, that bandha energy lock holding you into it. And then we grow a little taller, and then we hinge a little deeper. And we know that we're almost through it. So maybe noticing here as we've been warming up progressively into our arms, can we notice how different our shoulders feel right now from the beginning of class? All of this work, this space, this openness that we have been working on. And does that give us the space to go just a little bit deeper? We got 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds left. And then we will be done with this pose. So can you get the most out of this pose while we're in it? All right, so then we release. Inhale, start to come out of it. And then we're going to make our way onto our backs for fish pose. And I will say, I will admit, I do not like this pose. It took me a long time to warm up to it. So if you want to just go straight into Savasana, you're welcome to it. But you can take one block, you can take two blocks. The goal is to take this block right in between our shoulder blades. So maybe it's on the middle setting, maybe it's on the low setting, but you want it being right between the shoulder blades. And then the second block I think is helpful to support your head. So kind of play with the positioning and then start to go back. And some days you need it a little bit higher, some days you need it a little bit lower. And some days you need your head on the medium setting too. So just play with it, adjust, and then start to commit. So your knees can be bent. Some days that feels better on my low back. If you need to ground your feet, bring the mat's width, have them fall in. You can also bring your feet together and let your knees fall open for a little butterfly pose. Or your legs can be out straight in a Savasana option as well. So find the shape that feels good and allows you to soften. And I don't know, this is always a very deep pose for me. I feel a lot. So if this is a really tight pose where you're restricting your breath, know that that's okay. And the openness will come in time. And the openness will come without even doing this pose, because I don't do this most of the time. And so if this pose isn't working for you, you have my permission to skip it and just go straight into your Savasana. But if you are here doing your best with me to stay in it, we're really focusing on melting the shoulders down. We're really trying to melt away that stress and ground in, letting your shoulders grow heavy, letting your forearms, your palms be heavy. And then maybe you just start to notice what's coming up. As we're holding this pose, what sensations are you feeling? And without holding on to them, knowing that you are safe in this moment, can you just soften and let them go just a little bit? And then come back to your breath. right, if Savasana is calling to you, you want to get to it, let's go ahead and remove those blocks. If you want to stay in fish pose for your Savasana, you're also welcome to do that as well. Either option, committing to whatever you're committing to, and then settling in for a good, well-earned rest. So if you're coming in Savasana, your legs can be bent, your legs can be straight. If you're staying in fish pose, maybe you want to change your legs. Just mix up the pose a bit, but either option, just ground in, start to notice the state of your body, notice the state of your breath. And I will leave you in well-earned silence for the next few minutes. All right, so if Savasana is calling to you, you're welcome to stay longer. Just tune me out or press pause. If you're ready to be guided out of it, you can gently start to invite some movement to your fingers and toes. Trying to keep your eyes closed as long as possible to just limit that stimulation, that sensory input coming in. And then maybe invite some bigger movements, some wrist circles, some ankle circles. And then maybe extending your arms up overhead for a big good morning stretch. And then gently rolling over to your favorite side. Pausing for a moment to let your spine come back into neutral. And then gently making your way up to a comfortable seat. All right, so we have ended this class in a seat just as we start this class in a seat. So pausing for a moment here. Maybe your hands are resting on your knees to really ground you in, to lift you up, breathing through the chest. And just noticing your physical, mental, emotional state now and how different it is from when we started this class. And seeing how this class has served you today. And then pausing in one more moment in gratitude. Maybe those hands are coming together in front of the heart. And for all of the work that you have shared today on the mat, we all benefit off of the mat. I truly believe that. When you take care of yourself, you take care of all of us. So thank you so much for doing the work. And until we meet on our mats again, I bow to you and say, Om Shanti, peace, peace within, peace around, and peace to those who need it most. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you feel a little bit better, a little bit more open. this class was at all helpful to you. If you liked it, you didn't, what worked, what doesn't, let me know. Like, subscribe, comment. I want to hear from you. And otherwise, keep doing the good work, bringing this mindfulness that we've been working on into the poses of life. Can't wait to see you again soon.